It's the oddest phenomenon because I've never seen it in any other thing that you try to get good at. It's a little bit of study and a lot of practice, and a little bit of study and a lot of practice.
Dude, you're spending 10 hours a week learning how to make money. Take 9 hours of that. Being very honest is super vulnerable, and being vulnerable to a stranger is not something that people just do.
In our team, it's really, I think we've done a couple of things that have allowed us to do really well. Number one,
whereas you see someone who's like just kind of like doing his thing in the gym, like they're not doing anything, so they're not really going to get a result. They're just kind of like spinning their wheels. And that element of like really precise practice is what makes really good sales reps. But you can't do that for long periods of time. Like you can't do that 5 days a week. And I've had this conversation with closers. It's like, hey man, if you come in here and you don't close at 30%, like you're fired very quickly. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Coffee is for Closers. It's me and Kedon. Hello, Kedon.
What's up, Coach?
Sanchez. Kedon Sanchez. I believe that's how you pronounce it, right?
That's a new one. I've never heard that one before.
Right? A whale's vagina, right?
Exactly.
Scholars maintain the real meaning was lost years ago. So we're back, episode number 2. I'm in the home office, so is Caden. Or as our friend Jeremy would say, you're in the Utah office, I believe, today.
Yes, exactly. The Utah office. It's not at my house. It's professional.
No, it's the Utah headquarters. Yeah. Of Sniper Insurance. Speaking of, we have a logo, of which will pop up on the screen now. Right? If we touch our hands, it'll dock. Yeah, so that seems fun. But what we're going to do is talk about today what me and Caden have brewing. We went over Sniper Insurance and kind of what it is, but we have a few things, and we just wanted to kind of keep people abreast of the situation. Speaking of abreast, this is a fantastic product that I bought. Is a mouse pad of my wife.
Look at the breasts.
Right?
That is awesome, bro.
So that's the pad. How good's that?
That's pretty dope.
Chef's kiss, right? So that
they
way
look nice.
They're lovely. First of all, how dare you? All right, so me and you have obviously been working together for a long time in different capacities, and we've always got along. I think we've always kind of run a good little operation. And when I left 7th level, I started working with a business called Committed Coaches, which has to be the fastest growing fitness info space. It's fucking madness. I came in and they asked me to be sort of like a head of sales. It was like I said yes, and then realized it was way too big a job for someone to do in Australia. And me and Rudy had a chat. Rudy Sanchez, who is no relation to you, although there probably is somewhere. It's just somewhere, right? Exactly. And so, but it's a crazy business. And like, I think that like 20,000 sales calls a month, right? And, the lead generation is wild. Every lead is a buyer lead, which is crazy when you think about it. And like it's all fitness, and it's selling everything from supplements to like upsell supplements and selling fitness packages and selling combinations of the two. There's hundreds of sales reps. And Caden, you run, is it the worst team or is it the best one? I can't remember.
Yeah, the worst one, of course. That's why we wanted to talk about it.
Exactly.
We're just getting demolished by everybody.
Yeah, so run me through. So I started doing that, and then I realized it was really difficult to manage because it was really high growth. And the idea that I came up with, which I don't even know if they would still credit me with this idea. However, it was 100% my idea. I came up with a plan, I implemented, and I recruited most of them. Was the sales bring in sales leaders to run their own teams, sort of like an insurance model, and knowing that you come from insurance, I was like, it works there. It's not like it's less dodecahedron shaped, right, than insurance. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because it's just like a commission and like a management override, like that's it. But but essentially it's like instead of trying to, like, it's impossible to have a centralized management that has such a huge growth path without having enormous salaries. And if you do that, then all of a sudden you're just going to kill the growth trajectory of the business because you get bogged down with like fixed costs. And like I knew that because I'd done it with Sales Sniper, and I was like, this is essentially Sales Sniper, but more niche down, which is smarter. and with better like lead pathways. And I was like, oh, Caden, you should come over here and do this because I think that you would crush it. And then Caden came in, and then you sort of ended up just kind of explain like how did you work the insurance and this and like where who went where and why.
think it just depends on what people are looking for. You know, with insurance, insurance is always going to be a good career. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and I think committed coaches, you know, it provides a really good long-term opportunity. Insurance, the big difference is what you build, you own, you know. But with that said, in insurance, typically you're going to be a little bit more of an entrepreneur,
Okay.
right? You need to be a little bit more organized. You need to be better at managing your diary. Whereas with committed coaches, you know, let's say you're just somebody like you're just a sales rep, but you just want to get in and just sell things. You don't want to do shit. You don't want to worry
Yeah.
about anything else. Committed coaches is,
It's the best
uh,
opportunity in high ticket. Like
yeah, like
you
it's one of
can't.
the best opportunities that I've seen just as a whole.
Yeah. Like I
Um,
mean, it's like the commission structure goes up to as high as like 22%, I think, which is like high ticket numbers going back to 2019. Right, you know what I mean? But because of how they get leads, it actually makes sense. So like it's not like usually it's like, whoa, scam alert. But because of how
yeah,
they get leads, which is sort of you have to kind of come in to realize because it's sort of like their proprietary, like kind of like way of doing things that I don't want to have Rudy call me up after watching the podcast and scream at me, which would be totally fair enough. But
it's
like
masterful though, because the
it
lead
is very
flow is
clever.
already like crazy. And I was just chatting with him a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me that he could double that tomorrow if we had the sales reps for it. I've never been in a business.
Where the
I mean,
restraint is sales reps always.
yeah, yeah.
Like
Normally
always.
it's backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. And so run me through like give me the rundown like on your team on the Sanchez on the dirty Sanchez's.
Yeah, on our team, you know, a lot of it depends on where somebody's coming from. I think that's one of the big things that allows, you know, why people that come to me have higher success than going a lot of other places is you have to understand their background before it's just like, hey, go do this, you know? And so try to tailor that as much as possible versus giving people like a cookie cutter path.
Yeah.
But really all it is getting people plugged in and, you know, keeping the onboarding simple. I think we've all onboarded places where it's just like, here's all of the information, go drink from a fire hose, and then,
Hmm.
you know, they just give you a script and say go sell. And it's like, well, what the fuck am I selling? Right.
Yeah.
And so in our team, it's really I think we've done a couple of things that have allowed us to do really well. Number one, the culture is a really high value for everybody in it,
Hmm.
right? And so when we do onboard the wrong people, because I don't think you can ever stop that, um, I've never really had to fire anybody. Like the culture kind of pushes them out.
Yeah.
Because if you come in and you're just a whiny little bitch, like,
Yeah. It's not gonna go.
I'll, no, and it's not even going to be me. It might be me sometimes, usually. But it'll also be everybody else, you know? You're just going to get
Yeah.
ganged up on. Uh, just gonna get ganged up on until you're like, yeah, fuck these people, I'm out of here,
Yeah.
right? But what that does is for the right people, and really all the right people are the ones that like,
Just want to put in some
um,
work.
yeah, yeah, like sales is weird, man, because it works on a hockey stick, and I think you were the one who told me that, where like everybody wants it to work right away, but for a lot of people, the majority of people, me being one of them, you come in and you have to do the work and you don't get compensated super well for it if you're not good, right? But once you get good, the it's a hockey stick. Your income just skyrockets, right?
Yeah.
But most people quit during the flat portion of the stick.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a skill. Like it's anything skill based. Like if you're supposed, but the thing is, because we talk for a living, everyone talks, right? Everyone talks all the time.
Yeah.
So people think they are supposed to be good at it. But like what they don't realize is that they actually suck at speaking to people in general. Like they're
Yes.
not good at it. And there's a weird thing that I've talked about before, but like COVID made a group of Gen Z, I think they're Gen Zs, right? Like the 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Yeah, I
They
think
made
so.
them socially retarded. Um,
Yeah.
and you can see it like at bars, like if you go out, you know what I mean? Like they just don't know how to pick up women. right? Like the girls don't know like how to flirt without being like raucous. There's no like subtlety in communication. And that combined with dating apps has ruined sales. And it's a hot take, but a lot of the time, like when you're young, you learn how to deal with these intricacies in communication by like having to put yourself out there in person. And that
Yeah.
teaches you an awful lot about like what does vulnerability look like and sound like when it's real? What does concern sound like and look like? How can you tell if someone says, what's really important to me is the A, the B, and the C. The C is the one you ask about. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But like they don't hear that. And so they just go, A? Like, or they just word vomit something because like they just don't have that innate ability because they were locked inside and their mating practices are swiping.
They never had to listen to anybody
Yeah, it's crazy,
in
man.
real time. And so it's a generation that's been brought up where they can just read a message and think about it for 3 hours to figure out what the person is meaning. And then you have a real conversation, and it's like you have a half a second to hear the words they just said,
Yeah,
but you have to be quick at listening to what they actually meant.
yeah,
What's the important piece out of the words they just said? Because
exactly.
usually it is not the fucking words.
No, exactly. Because like there's a level of like being very honest is super vulnerable, and being vulnerable to a stranger is not something that people just do, And
Yeah.
so like I just think, the big thing is that these kids suck. And so what they need is they need volume,
Yeah.
and they need an opportunity to like where it's not crazy high stakes. Now, the beautiful thing about committed coaches is that like there is a tremendous volume, and because of how they get leads, like it's not, I'm not saying it's not high stakes because every lead is valuable and you need to come in and like you can't be a douchebag and just like not do stuff. However, it's not, they're not spending $400 to get that person on a call, right?
Yeah.
So, because when they are, and I've had this conversation with closers, it's like, hey man, if you come in here and you don't close at 30%, like you're fired very quickly. So do
Have to
outbound to
be.
start. Do outbound to start. Like give yourself an opportunity to fuck it up for like a week or two, then come in and take some calls because the amount of pressure that's going to be on you, you're not going to like,
Yeah.
right? And it's like,
At
how
all.
much of my money am I supposed to spend on you figuring this out?
Yeah. How much am I supposed to trust? Like I trust you, but do I trust you with my wallet?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
No.
So, I think it's like it's one of those really unique opportunities um, that allows people to come in and actually get better without getting booted in 3 weeks because they haven't cracked the code. Now, the other
Yeah.
side of that is that it can be tough mentally to do 25, 30 sales calls and not get a sale. But
I'll say it's gotten easier though, in
yeah,
committed
yeah,
because like we've introduced a few different things that have made the pathway to success like significantly easier, which has been really good to see. I have people literally on my team that were like struggling 6 weeks ago that will do 10K in comms this month.
it's fantastic.
You
You
know,
know,
and I mean that's really what brought me into committed originally was as you and I were figuring out the insurance thing, because you've always been, you've been helping me with it for the last couple of years, and so uh, where we were previously at an insurance, we knew what it was. Like people had to be pretty good to
yeah,
see success, right? And I needed a place where I could put people and develop them. Um,
yes.
and
And I think
so,
it's a really good system. And like, hey, if they're doing well and they want to stay, that's fantastic. Or if they want to then transition into more of a longer term career, right? Which might be more like
yeah,
that insurance because you get the renewals and there's a lot of really good things with insurance. But I think that like, the barrier to insurance is like contracting, so you've got to get your licenses and all that kind of stuff. And so for us, like, right, to be able to have a couple of areas. So someone can come to me, someone can come to you, and we train these teams. Like,
yeah,
for committed, I'm doing 4 training sessions a week. 4 or 5, I think. And then, like you're doing sessions, and then for our insurance guys, like that's all relatively new and starting, but we'll be doing plenty of insurance. They'll have access to all the portals that we have,
Yeah.
and like all that kind of stuff, like the full pathway. And so, and I have a specific portal for committed coaches as well. And like, his fitness sales is like my jam.
Yeah.
I love fitness sales. Josh, who I put you in that Slack, who I put you in that thread.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude,
You sent me one of his calls.
he's a killer.
He's so good.
He's
Yeah, I watched that
so
call a
good.
few times.
He's so good. I've been training him one on one for 18 months. And the
It's,
calls are like, our training calls are like 15 minutes. And they're so dialed in now. He goes, struggle with this. This is what's happening. I go, well, let me do this. And we go, okay, do this. And he goes, yep, sweet. Comes back next week. He's like, all right, cool. That worked.
I
And
think that's
now,
actually
yeah,
one of like the big things that people fuck up when they're new is
too much training.
that too much training. It's too much studying.
Yeah.
It's the oddest phenomenon because I've never seen it in any other thing that you try to get good at. It's a little bit of study and a lot of practice, and a little bit of study and a lot of practice.
Yeah.
And when I first got into sales, because I think it's easy to fall into the trap, um, but you do a lot of study and almost no practice. It's
Yeah.
like study, study,
Well,
study. Go
yeah, I
watch
think
all these
because you
trainings
can't
and
be
don't practice.
rejected. You can't be rejected when you do the real thing, right? I actually,
Yeah,
on my last sales training for Committed, which was at the end of last week or something, I think everyone was like, I said, guys, like, you've got to stop coming to these sessions for the full hour. I said, like,
yeah,
this is some of you come to mine, you go to like everyone else's, and you're on these training sessions for 8 hours a week. I was like, it's overload. You are not getting better. Like,
yeah.
just come. I said, when I was running seventh, and like you would have seen this as well, right? The most successful people, you barely ever saw them. And it was
Yep.
because they would come in, they would have a question, they would ask that one question to the person who they knew could answer it, and they'd go this, and you go this, and they would go, okay, bye. Then they'd go out and sell, right? Like,
Money making activity.
that
Weird.
was it. And it was like, dude, you're spending 10 hours a week learning how to make money, which is like, take 9 hours of that and try to make some money,
Well,
you
and even
know?
if you want to practice, or even if you want to study and you're not gonna, because some people, it's like they're either gonna study or they're gonna go sit on their couch and jerk off. Like it's not like they're gonna go do money making
Some
activity
do
anyways.
both, right?
Some do both at the same time,
I've heard some
whatever
oddities on
gets you
those
there.
calls, right? Whatever gets you there.
Um,
If that's what you need from me, that's what you need from me, right?
yeah, maybe they're doing it right now. If you
Exactly.
need to hear my voice to get you there, I'm good with that.
Yeah, it's fine.
Um, but I think a lot of them, they just don't know how to practice and how
Yes.
to drill. Like it's just like a sport when you're growing up.
Yeah.
You just need to make the drills. And if you're studying for 8 hours a week, you could probably study for 30 minutes and do an hour of drills and get way more out of that.
Yes.
Like
This
that's all
is
I did, bro. I did drills 2 to 3 times a day for 15 minutes, and people are like, it can't be that simple. Like,
well, it is. It's because like it's the simplicity that makes it work. And so I
yeah,
remember like when Sniper was at its peak, and this is actually why we called it Sniper Insurance. And hey, maybe there'll be a fucking Sniper Fitness. We don't know. We don't know,
baby.
right? Maybe. But like the training that I did with that team was like difficult and very specific.
Yeah,
And like that was the secret sauce. It was like never did we do generic shit. It was like, hey, today we're going to work on how to take back the conversation from alpha type personalities. Right? And then it was like
yeah,
the reason why we do this is this, the theory behind it is this. I'm going to show you how it's done, and then we're going to break it down step by step, and then we're all going to go through those drills together. And we had like really good role, like, you have to be good at sales to be good at role playing. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like to know when to push, when not to push, like how to be like a prospect, but like not go so far and not be, because most people are just way too easy, or like
yeah, for
impossibly
sure.
hard where you can't break through. And so it's like, fuck's sake. Right. So we had like Will Odoms, for example, the goat of talking a lot, sort of like Whitney.
Yeah,
Whitney's a fucking
yeah,
savage role player. right?
Yeah, she's so good
Um,
at role playing.
yeah, and so like, it was like, and then what we would do is we would do drills where it was like, say that again, and then we'd change people, like summarize the call. Okay, now you're going to switch the product to window dressings, and they would have to sell stuff they never sold, which meant you had to like perfect the sales process, not just like how to sell that one thing. Like I had a meeting
Yeah.
with Everest, Everest, the guy who's come in from Barton, and he's like been one of their like top.
Yep.
So I had a good chat with him actually because he came one of the sales training and they reached out to me, so I booked a meeting with him, and it was like really interesting how someone like he has like what I would say, and I told him this, I was like, you've made like a super specific, extremely effective sales process for this. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
you have lasered this thing in. I said like, I don't think that would be great for selling other things to other types of people, but I think for what you're doing, that's the way to do that. Like
Yeah.
it was fantastic.
And it's like
Um
if you're gonna keep doing that, like if that's what you're gonna keep selling, just
yeah.
keep doing that.
Yeah, just keep doing it that way. He was like, "Oh, what about this?" I was like, "Man, I don't want to change your shit at all because you're doing really well." Like I was like, there are some things that I see what you're doing and I think like, "Oh yeah, that's really smart." Like,
Yeah.
would I do it in general sales? No, but for what you're doing, I'm killing it. You know what I mean? So just keep kind of doing your thing. Um, but yeah, like that element of like that real precise sales training, it's like the difference between amateur and a professional is when they go to a driving range, if you're a professional golfer, you are going there to perform specific drills and practices for weak areas of your game.
Yeah.
If you see someone who's ripped and jacked, when they go to the gym, they have a specific plan that they're going through, whereas you see someone who's like just kind of like doing his thing in the gym, like they're not doing anything, so they're not really going to get a result. They're just kind of like spinning their wheels. And that element of like really precise practice is what makes really good sales reps. But you can't do that for long periods of time. Like you can't do that 5 days a week for 2 hours. Like it doesn't work that way. And
No.
yeah, like yeah,
Everything ebbs and flows. I don't think people, I
yeah,
think that's one of the big things that when salespeople come to me and they're working with us, that we really, I try to get them to understand is like it's going to ebb and flow. Whether
yeah,
that's like a lot of times it's how much you're working, right? But it ebbs and flows on a grand scale and a granular scale. It's
yeah,
like
absolutely.
during the day, if you're just grinding it out, I'm not saying you can't grind for a while, right? You just grind it out for 18 hours a day or whatever. Like, yeah, depending on who you are, you're gonna be able to do that for a while. But you can't fucking do it forever. And
No.
it's like when it ends,
Yeah. It ends badly.
most people, it ends badly.
Yeah. And like, if you're bad at free throws, don't go out with your friend who's also bad at free throws and shoot free throws together and coach each other because you both suck at free throws. Like if
Yeah.
Steph Curry's there, ask him a question. Hey man, how do you do free throw? All you're gonna do is you're gonna get better at doing the wrong thing. That's really what's gonna happen. You're gonna like ingrain everything. And so, we'll have a link in the description down for like if you want to chat to us about some of these opportunities. Like, I think, they're both really good. Maybe we even have like a just like a if you want to we just have a big call once every couple weeks or whatever, but we'll
Yeah.
figure something out because we got a lot of opportunity. Committed coaches, I think if you're someone who's in high ticket wants to sell anything, what's the highest price now once you stack things together?
Stack things together, the highest price thus far has been 18 grand,
Yeah, so
I think.
high ticket, but 4 to 5 pretty consistently. And really good commission structures and super, super high volume. And then me and Caden are running the insurance stuff, which I think is great. It's a rare opportunity. You don't have to pay for leads. Everything's kind of just set and forget, sit there, take calls, right? Make sales. What do you take $100 over the phone and get $600 commission? Right.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I
you
think
know,
with the way we've structured it, we really just have good opportunities that give people the highest chance of success
yeah,
without like I mean, I think there's somewhat of a ceiling no matter what you do and how much
for
you make.
sure.
Like, you're not going to come in and be a multi-billionaire the first year selling either of them. Uh,
Probably not.
but
It's
there's
unlikely.
there's not much of a ceiling. You can really make it pretty much whatever you want in
It's
either one.
sales, man. High ceiling, low floor.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Higher the ceiling, the lower the floor. Right. So, pick your poison. But yeah, I gotta run. I got another call. But uh, look out for the link in the description, guys. We'll go through. If you have any questions, queries, or data points, you can come to us. I'll put the links to contact us. And if you want to be a part of Team Sniper and Team Dirty Sanchez, Team Dirty Sniper, right?
Pretty sniper. I like it.
Dirty Sniper. Yeah, let us know. All right, guys. Thanks very much. Bye.
See you guys on the next one.